Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us on behalf of the Central Jersey Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I am Shakira Lindsay, co-chair with Latifa Adams of the Strategic Partnership Committee. I welcome you all, and I just want to give you a couple of small little housekeeping. One, everyone on right now that we started the webinar, you are all in listen only mode and your cameras are off. That was one way I got to have some of my family members and friends join. I'm like, you don't have to show your face. So just know your cameras are off. We also have the opportunity for you to place your questions, any questions you may have throughout the webinar in the chat or in the Q&A box. Or if you're on the telephone and you'd like to ask a question at the very end of the presentation, we will have an opportunity for you to come off mute and ask your question. As you know, that this session will be recorded and we will be posting the recording on our Central Jersey Alumni website for you if you'd like to go back and review any of it. So without further ado, I welcome you again to United. Let's fight for justice and equity. Join the NAACP. We have with you here today with us our guest speaker, Reverend Sonia Red, and she's right here. She's going to just wait for you. In a moment, you'll only see her face and hear her voice. She is the New Brunswick NAACP membership chairperson and executive committee member. She also belongs to the New Jersey State Conference NAACP Act So chairperson and the executive committee member. And at this time, I'd like to pass the microphone to Reverend Sonia so she can present to us the past, the present, and the future of the NAACP. Thank you so much.
Well, good evening, everyone, and I'm so happy to be here. I want to thank Shakira and Latifa and the entire Central Jersey Delta Sigma Theta sorority alumni for hosting this event, and I truly appreciate it. Now, let's get down to it, okay? I'm going to share my screen now.
Thank you.
Well, that's not what I want to share.
As you're sharing the screen, I can just say a couple of special hello to some folks out there. I know we have Deborah Morgan. She's the NAACP branch secretary and chairperson of the health committee, as well as our councilman, Carl Wright of Franklin Township, Ward 4. He's on the line with us as well. And as Deborah, and I also wanted to say thank you to everyone. Everyone's special and should be recognized in their own right. So I thank you as well. All right. Here we go.
Now, we know our title tonight is United, Let's Fight for Justice and Equality. Join the NAACP. There is no question that we have a crisis of justice and equality here right now in this country. This isn't a new issue, as we all know. Over the past several years, we've seen more violence and brutality issued against people of color. Ahmaud Arbery is a case, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. And when we think about the Flint, Michigan, and Newark water crisis in New Jersey, the segregated school systems in New Jersey, and the great disparity that was evident during the pandemic when our kids were not able to have access to Wi-Fi, or many of them in certain communities not even have a computer in their homes. We know for surety we truly have a crisis. The increase in hate crimes against people of color, Black, brown, Jews, white people of goodwill, which was certainly evident in the Rittenhouse case, we know we have a crisis of justice and equality. So now you say, why join the NAACP? Well, let's take a look. The NAACP is the oldest, biggest, baddest, and the boldest civil rights organization.
Can you place it, please? Click on the bottom for presentation mode.
Someone speaking?
Yeah, this is Tech. Can you please place in presentation mode?
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
All right. Uh, Civil rights organization in the United States. It has done more to change this country for the better for people of color, women, and those who are disenfranchised. When it comes to fighting for civil rights and social justice, the NAACP has a long and rich history of doing just that. Let's examine its past from the beginning. The Springfield Race Riot of 1908 was the catalyst that really caused the NAACP to come into being. This riot were events of mass racial violence committed against Black people, Black residents, by a mob of about 5,000 white Americans and European immigrants. If you look on the side, you'll see some of the statistics. They record 16 deaths of Black people. But as we know, if that's what the record says, we can just imagine it was probably twice that number. 2,000 Black people were uprooted from their home and became refugees. And the dollar amount of the damage that was done to their property was estimated to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 150,000. And in this day and time, that would equate to about $5 million. So in January of 1909, a group of Black and white citizens and Jewish Gentile citizens met at the home of William English Walling in New York to discuss proposals of an organization that would advocate the civil and political rights for African Americans. And to do so, to gain support, the group decided to issue what has been termed a call for a national conference on racial inequality. It was to take place on Abraham Lincoln's birthday in February 12th of 1909. It was called, as we can already see, this document was named the call. It was written by Oswald Garrett Villard. Now, there were 60 people who signed this document. Among them were James Adams, John Dewey, W.E.B. Du Bois, who we are very familiar with, Ida B. Wells, Francis Grimke, and Ray Stannard. Also at the heart of this committee there were other people. One person, William English Walling, Mary White Ovington, Henry Moskowitz. The call was sent to prominent Black and white citizens for endorsement. The real issue is the Springfield riot wasn't the only riot that spurred members of this group to meet and to come together. The Atlanta riot was actually, in my opinion, worse than the riot of 1908 in Springfield. The riot in Atlanta in 1906, I think they recorded somewhere between 25 and 40 African Americans were killed during that riot. And much property was destroyed. And I'm always tempted to do a history lesson, but I won't. But there is so much tied to that Atlanta riot. Laws were brought into being that really changed the course of that whole area. But we'll continue. The Brownsville, Texas incident with the Black military men, that was another incident that caused many people to join this fight for civil rights. Now, this is just a picture of those who were the founders of the NAACP. And as you can see, it's a mixed group. Moorfield Story, and this is him here. Moorfield was a white man who served as the president of the NAACP for the first 19 years of the organization. And so often people think of the organization as a Black organization, but it's an organization that has always been a mixed organization. In addition, we had Bishop Alexander Walters. Now, Bishop Walters founded the African American Council. That was actually the first nationwide civil rights organization in this country that he founded in 1889. Excuse me 1 second. I don't know why this is ringing. I thought I turned it off. Okay, that should be it. I don't know how to turn it off. I apologize. Okay. Bishop Alexander Walters, uh, he was a part of the 60 that signed the call. We're familiar with W.E. Du Bois, who started the Niagara movement. That was the second civil rights organization that became a part of the NAACP. Now, here's some history that some of us may not be familiar with. In 1910, the year after the NAACP was started, there was the Pink case. Now, this was the first major legal case that the NAACP handled. Mr. Pink was actually convicted of murder and sentenced to and received a death sentence. Now, the incident occurred because the policeman came to his home and they began firing on his home. He fired back. He actually killed one of the policemen. He was given a death sentence, but NAACP got involved. They fought the case for him. His sentence was commuted to life, and he ended up serving only 9 years. In 1915, NAACP aggressively opposed the birth of a nation. Some of us are familiar with that film. It was a silent film, and it caused much upheaval and depicted African Americans in a terrible light. NAACP aggressively fought back. While the movie was still made and shown in many places, there are other cities that would not show it because of the fight that the NAACP put forth. In 1916, they started the Committee for Anti-Lynching. And ultimately, in 1918, they wrote the 30 years of lynching. Now, this really was a very important document. This documented the number of lynchings that took place in the United States from 1889 to 1918. And they estimated like 3,224 was the estimate that was given and written in this document. This document was used by Congressman Dwyer in 1918 to present an anti-lynching bill before Congress. Now, if we stop and think how long ago that was, we're talking over 100 years ago. And we're still now fighting another kind of lynching. Very interesting. 1919, the Red Summer. There are more than 25 race riots across the country. It's documented that 97 African Americans were lynched. Can you imagine 97 African Americans lynched? And we're talking after the 1918 report. A very important incident that occurred during that time in 1919 was the massacre of Elaine, Arkansas. That was a major incident that occurred. More than 200 African American men, women, and children were slaughtered. Property was destroyed. Black men were arrested in great number, as we can see. And this case, the NAACP fought it all the way to the Supreme Court. And that piece of legislation that took place really changed so much for us and how we approached different kinds of cases and how we were successful in winning them. 1920, James Weldon Johnson was sent to investigate the suspected abuses of the US military in Haiti. Now, some of us aren't even aware of the challenges or the involvement that NAACP had outside of the United States. But President Wilson has sent the military over in 1915 because of some upheaval in Haiti. But it was the NAACP that helped bring about, regained the sovereignty for Haiti in 1934. So as you can see, we have a very rich history. Many of us are familiar with the 1954 Brown versus the Board of Education. That was NAACP. Thurgood Marshall segregated, we fought for the desegregation of schools. It became, as we know, unconstitutional because of the fight that was put forth at that time. The NAACP branch secretary, Rosa Parks, that was not an accident with her sitting on that bus and not getting out of that seat. That was something that was planned by the NAACP. Okay, that started the boycott And now, as a result, following that year of boycotting, we were able now to sit anywhere we want on a bus, train, or plane. NAACP was instrumental in organizing the 1963 March on Washington, and the youth of NAACP sat at lunch counters during the freedom fight of the 60s. We can see that the NAACP was very much involved in all the civil rights acts that were passed in 1957, Civil Rights Act of 1964, Voting Rights Act of 65, the Fair Housing Act, and we can go on. As we can see, NAACP has really been in the forefront of every civil rights act, every civil rights law that has been passed in this nation. And we're very much involved with the fight to end apartheid in South Africa. The relationship went all the way back to 1912. And so now we want to move forward and say, okay, where are we now? What is the NAACP doing now? And what will we do in the future? Here's our vision statement. The vision of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People is to ensure a society in which all individuals have equal rights and there is no racial hatred or racial discrimination. Our mission, likewise, very similar. We're fighting, and our fight is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality and equal rights of all persons and to eliminate racial hatred and discrimination. Now, we receive, we have national meetings every year and conventions. And at those conventions, various decisions are made. We put forth resolutions, and those resolutions become the actions of the organization. In addition to that, we have established what we call game changers. These are the tasks that the assignments, the focus that we have for every single unit in this country. This is our focus. These are the game changers that we will focus on for the next 10 years. And what we have here is racial justice, education innovation, environmental and climate justice. We know that environment is a very serious issue, not just in New Jersey, but all over this country. Inclusive economy. We want the mobility and a thriving Black economy. Health and well-being. We know our health, we know there's great disparity in our healthcare. We have to be the game changers in that area. Next generation leadership. Well, many people say NAACP is getting older. Well, we've made great strides to bring in younger people to make sure that this organization continues. Advocacy and litigation. NAACP will legislate, litigate, we will march, we will do whatever is necessary to help move our people forward in a peaceful manner. Here are the committees that those game changers are all implemented through. AXO, I chair that for the New Jersey State Conference of NAACP. It is Afro-Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics. I'll give you more information about that shortly. We have the Armed Services and Veterans Affairs, Communications, Press and Publicity, Community Coordination, Criminal Justice, Economic Development, Education, Environment, Housing, Health, Labor and Industry. So you see we have 20 committees, and these are the working committees of the NAACP. Now take a look at since I do represent the New Brunswick area branch of the NAACP, and I very proudly represent that branch. Here are some of the current activities that we have been and are involved in. Last year, 2020 census, we were very much involved in that, realizing the importance of making sure all people fill out the census information. We conducted educational workshops. We had a census rally with a motor vehicle parade from New Brunswick ending at the park, and various other programs we pushed census. We are now in partnership and have been in partnership in the Lost Souls Memorial Project with the Unitarian Church. And there's wonderful information online about that project. It's a very serious project, and so we hope everyone will take an opportunity to go on your website and look up the Lost Souls Memorial Project. We've supported the Long March for Justice with Larry Ham, 2021 voter education presentations and registration. We've had tables at most community events outside. And we partner with our community on whatever projects they're working with, and with our local businesses as well. Now, our president, Ruth Morgan, he's also the first vice president of the New Jersey State Conference of NAACP. And I have to tell you, he is an awesome president. I would encourage anybody in this area, this is the branch to belong to. We have fabulous leadership, and I would not want to serve under anyone else. And he serves with love and compassion, intelligence, and it's just an awesome, awesome unit. He is very much involved. I don't know how the man gets any sleep. I don't know if he gets sleep with all that he does. Now, in the New Jersey State Conference of NAACP, we've worked on the recently passed Ban the Box, the bail reform, legislation for the use of cannabis. We led a group of organizations to ensure that concerns of our community, of the community that has been most negatively affected by the war on drugs and the war on crime, that we benefit more from this program, as well as currently working with the Cannabis Commission to make sure that we're properly represented on that commission. We're aggressively addressing the environmental issues. And I mean, we are seriously, aggressively addressing it. It is an issue in New Jersey, many parts of New Jersey. The fair housing situation, we addressed that and we're very much involved in that. We're currently involved in a lawsuit against against New Jersey, along with our other civil rights partners, to desegregate the New Jersey school system. I don't know if people are aware, but New Jersey is has the sixth most segregated school system in the country. We also partner with the Allies for Reparations Task Force. And of course, we're always involved in voter registration and voter education. And our state president is Richard T. Smith, awesome man, strong, and as he often says, if you're not at the table, you're often on the menu. So we work hard to be at every table that can affect our community in any way. Now, here are some of the organizations, the programs within NAACP that really are talking about where are we going for tomorrow? What does our future look like? ACSO is one of those programs, one of those committees. Again, it stands for Afro-Academic, Cultural, Technological, Scientific Olympics. It is a year-long program where we mentor high school students from 9th through the 12th grade in 33 disciplines in the areas of business, humanities, performing arts, STEM, and visual arts. It's a year-long program. And around April, we usually have a statewide competition where we have medalists in those given categories. And the gold medalist goes on to compete at the national for monetary scholarships and prizes. And they do pretty well. We're very proud of our students and the program. There's a link that will be placed in the chat for anyone interested in registering their student, or if there's a student online who would like to register, there's a link there. As well as this Saturday on the 11th, we're having our student orientation where you can find out more about the ACSO program. And that link will also be placed in the chat if you would like to register your student or yourself just to find out more about the program. Here's a young man, Calvin Bell III. This young man, he's an AXO alum, a wonderful young man who participated in STEM. He's in his second year of college. He just recently, just got this news this week, received the Happy Day Scholarship, $12,500 that would be paid out over a 2-year period. He also received, for the past 2 years, the Bristol Myers Tomorrow's Innovators Scholarship. And he previously won medals nationally for medicine and health and computer science. Well, I think he was between the 10th and 11th grade at the time. So as you can see, for our youth, this is really NAACP is the place to be. Youth and college chapters. NAACP has one of the largest organized groups of young people of any secular organization in the country. As you can see, we have over 25,000 young people under the age of 25, representing 550 junior youth councils, high school chapters, and college chapters. And they really get involved in the politics in their schools. They fight for the issues of their own concerns as well as the concerns of the community. Next generation leadership, we call it Next Gen. This is a very important group. All the groups are important. This is a very important group. This NAACP Next Gen program is a leadership development training program for young adults between the age of 21 and 40 who receive comprehensive leadership and advocacy training to become effective civil rights leaders. We must prepare for the future. And that's why we put the energy into making sure that we have someone that can take the baton and run with it. So I think I've shared enough information to let you know why it's important, first of all, that we fight for justice and equality. Also, information that have given you an idea of the strength and power and the fortitude of NAACP. We've been around for 113 years come this February. So as you can see, we have been around a long time and we've been fighting the fight. So I'm encouraging you to join the NAACP. Together we stand, divided we will fall. Here is the application, the Brunswick area application. The link will be put in the chat for you, but this is basically what the application will look like. And so you will know the regular annual membership fee for adults is $30, for youth under 20 and under, $10, corporation $5,000, life membership 13 and under, $25 annually, $100 one-time payment. Ages 14 to 20, annual $50 or one-time amount of $40. Adult life membership, $75 annual or $750 one-time payment. I am a life member and 3 of my 5 grandchildren are life members of the NAACP. If you're interested in another branch other than the New Brunswick area branch, you can go onto the website for the National NAACP. You click, if you go to the right corner, you click join, and it will prompt you through filling out your information. When you put in your zip code, what will happen, they will show you the branches, the NAACP branches in your area that are in your zip code area. Select one of those and then proceed to fill out the information. And I would also advise that once you select that branch, that you give that branch a call and let them know that you filled out your application on the national website. That way they can look for it and make sure that you get your card in a timely manner. Now, New Brunswick area branch, we're doing a holiday special. We have a nice holiday special with a $5 discount. So our annual membership will only be $25. That link will be in the chat. Please click on that chat, join. The form is there. It will take you straight to the form. You can fill it out, and also a link where it goes right in. And our branch secretary will receive that. And I'll tell you, we'll be joining the best branch. I have to say it. We are the best branch in the state. There's no way I can not say that because I know it's true. So in closing, I want to encourage everyone, join the fight for justice. We need you. Join the NAACP. And when I think about the struggle that we've been in over these many years, when I think about people who may think about sitting on the sideline, Martin Niemöller comes to mind. He was a Lutheran pastor in Germany who was outspoken against Hitler. He spent the last 7 years of Nazi rule in concentration camp. And these were some of his words he said later. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Let that not be you. Speak out, stand up, join the NAACP, join the fight. I thank you so much for your time. Now back to you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Reverend Sonia. Thank you. That was an excellent presentation, informational presentation. And keeping to our word, which we do as Deltas, we said this was going to be a relatively brief informational session, and we have held ourselves to that. And I just want to ask technology if there's any questions in the chat. I know we have a couple of comments that were dropped in there in regards to our special membership. But if there's anyone on the telephone line who has to come off of mute, so they'd like, if they have any questions, this is the time to do it. Right now, I'm just going to give us a little time check. It's 7:38, but I have to tell you, whether there's a question or not that's coming forth, and it's just speaking to my spirit. I was chatting with my line sister as I was, as you were presenting, and no matter how many times I hear a historical perspective of our history, the history of Blacks and African Americans, it always just stirs something up in me and says, it just hits me right in the gut. And she reminded me that she practices self-care so she could prepare herself to listen to it, and then afterwards as well, because it can really get to you. So I just want to thank you for bringing us through from the very, very beginning all the way to this very time right now. Now, for all of you who don't know, with Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, we have the NAACP as our national partners. So in December, Central Jersey Alumni Chapter, we recognize this as the NAACP membership drive throughout the entire month of December. So I want to thank you for placing that slide into your presentation about the several memberships that you can join, not just for adults. Now, I think $25 for the New Brunswick area, which I'm a member of for many, many years, I think that is a steal. You think about $25, we spend that and blink that out at any point in time. But what I was really pleased to see was the youth membership. Anybody under 20 years old, they will just pay $10 for that membership. And that's for an annual membership. So that lasts for the entire 12 years, 12 months, 12 months. And then it will be renewed. And with that being said, I think it's very important. And I'm glad that you highlighted our youth and all of the accolades that he received one in being an AXO, being a member of AXO and a recipient, and then all the other scholarships that he was awarded as a result of that foundation that I'm sure he received in AXO. So if anybody's thinking of what can I give a young person in my life, I think that this is an excellent opportunity for you to go to the NAACP website that's in our chat, and please think about joining for yourself. Think about joining for a young person in your life. My grandmother, who will be 97 in a few weeks, she has been a lifetime member of the NAACP for many, many, many years, and has always encouraged our family to join the NAACP. So if you're on the line and you're not yet a member of the NAACP, please follow the guidance and go to the website and complete the application form for the New Brunswick area. If you are from out of state and you would like to join another, if you're not from the area and you'd like to join another chapter, go to the NAACP.org, and they have all the different memberships available for you as well. Being a lifetime member, that's truly something, because we see through Reverend Sonia, you explicitly brought out that the NAACP has been a part of our history for so many years, and they still to this day continue to do work in the form of health equity and environment and education, and they are fighting so many battles that we don't even know about, that they are triumphant, and it helps all of us in so many different ways. So we thank you for that. We thank you so much. I don't think I see any questions in the chat.
Our co-chair, there's no questions at this time.
Okay, so at this point, I'd like to thank again Reverend Sonia Red of the New Brunswick area NAACP for this excellent presentation that you provided to us. I also like to thank each and every one of you for taking time to tune in, because we know Mondays aren't always easy for everyone, but you found it not robbery to tune in with us and learn a little bit. 45 minutes of your time could mean so much to our folks as a community, and what you can contribute to other people as we put forth our legacy and hopefully uplift our youngsters. It stirred up something in me just listening to everything, and I've already renewed my membership, but if there's anyone else that would like to go to our chat, please, by all means. But in closing, it's 7:43. I said 45 minutes, starting at 7 o'clock. So on behalf of our chapter, the Central Jersey Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, our president, Karen Wade Kolb, and our entire strategic partnerships, our entire committee, especially our planning committee, my co-chair, Latifa Adams. Someone just popped up and told me there is one question. I'm going to ask, Lorinda, can you unmute yourself for a moment and just ask the question?
Yes. The question is from Cheryl Bethia. Is a copy of the slide deck available to all attendees?
Yes. We will have this entire presentation has been recorded. And now Sonia, Reverend Sonia, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you, will you have the slide decks available to our guests as well?
Yes.
Okay. So,
and I want to thank you again for having me. I really do want to thank you.
Thank you. So the answer to our question, yes, we'll have the recorded presentation as well as the slide deck, and you can go to the Central Jersey Alumni chapter, and you can go to our website and you'll see all that information posted as soon as our tech department can get it posted. Lorinda, do we have any other questions?
No other questions, but there's some comments if you'd like me to read those for.
Sure, by all means.
So good evening. Thank you, Reverend Sonia. That's from Deborah Morgan. And we
Oh.
have from Tony Hendricks. Hi, Tony. We had a great ongoing relationship. Thank you for including us today. And that's from Tony Hendricks. And
Hey,
lastly,
Tony.
please feel free to join us at our virtual monthly meetings. Check us out on social media. Again, that's from Deborah Morgan. And outstanding presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Thank you, Tony. I know them both too as well. Reverend Sonia?
I just want to thank everyone, and I thank everyone for participating. And I sincerely thank the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Central Jersey Alumni Chapter for this wonderful, wonderful platform and for allowing us to participate in our partnership. We thank you so much.
Absolutely. And closing.
And I want to encourage everyone, join the NAACP.
That's right. Join the NAACP.
Join the
closing,
NAACP.
to everyone, remember what we said, speak out, be a part of it, stay informed. And that's one way we can do that is through the NAACP, our local chapter, especially the New Brunswick area, which I'm a member of. And please join us. It's an awesome chapter. So
Awesome.
Okay, so everyone, it is that time has come when we're all saying good night to everyone. Thank you. Thanks to everyone for listening. Be safe. Take care. Self-care.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
all.
Good night.